So we'll go through the first one of the questions. The question goes like this: the first grant has radio frames 201 and the slots 48 and symbols 5, and the second grant it has radio frames 204, slot 64, and symbols 11, and it has a subcarrier spacing of 120 kilohertz. So basically, we need to find the time difference between these two grants which are being sent. So first of all, we need to know what is grant. So when the device wants to connect, it cannot just send the data. First, it has to send the Rach preamble, kind of like knocking on the network store, and that network will answer with the random access response, which includes a grant, basically giving permission for the device to send a small message, RRC connection request or data, depending on the case. So for this, we have to go through the RATS process properly, and I'll be covering it soon. And why this grant is needed? When many UEs user equipments will try to access the slot at the same time, the network must manage who sends what and when. Otherwise, the signal will collide and fail. So we need there is a need to understand this question at the beginning. So here I have drawn a small diagram where this block will tell about the radio frame. This is a radio frame. So in the grant like this, there are 201 radio frames, and this is a depiction of only one radio frame. So in one radio frame uh, there are 10 subframes. So in one subframes, two slots, and in one slot 14 OFDM symbols or 7 OFDM symbols. Basically, if it's LT, it is 7, or 14 OFDM symbols if it is NR. So like this, you can understand what is given here: radio frames, slot, and symbols. So radio frames, it will be divided into these 10 subframes, and then one subframe in two slots and one slot into number of OFDM symbols. And to go through the problem, so the problem depiction is like this. So subcarrier spacing, it is 120 kilohertz. So by this I can understand, like one radio frame, it will be 10 milliseconds, because one radio frame has 10 subframes. One subframe will be of 1 millisecond time, so one frame is 10 milliseconds. And taking one slot talking about one slot, it is 0.125 milliseconds. How this is calculated, it is very important. So for that, we have to come to the slot duration calculation. 1 millisecond divided by 2 raised to n, where n is how many times you have doubled the base subcarrier spacing of 15 kilohertz. So for 15 kilohertz, n is 0. Slot duration is 1 millisecond. So slots per 1 millisecond is 1. For subcarrier spacing 30 kilohertz, n is 1. So slot duration will be zero point 0.5, because 1 millisecond divided by 2 raised to, it will be 2 raised to 1. It is zero point 0.5 millisecond. So 2 slots per subframe. 60, it will be n is equal to 2, and 1 millisecond divided by 2 raised to 2. 1 millisecond divided by 4, it will be 0.25 millisecond slot duration. Slots per 1 millisecond is 4. Similarly, for 120 kilohertz is what is given in the question. So 1 millisecond, it will be divided by 2 raised to 3. It is 0.125 millisecond. So this is how we arrive at one slot is equal to 0.125 millisecond, because of subcarrier spacing 120 kilohertz. So one slot has 14 OFDM symbols, considering it as NR. One symbol duration, it will be 0.125 millisecond divided by 14. So 8.93 microsecond. So here one symbol duration, it is 8.93 microsecond. So we have two grants. So that two grants we will have to consider in terms of symbols and take the difference. So one RF, it will be having 80 slots. If you multiply it, will have 80 slots. subcarriers into two slots. Considering uh, fewer number of uh, fewer number of subcarriers, we will have 80 slots. So each slot it is having 14 symbols. So 80 into 14 it is 1120 symbols, and we have 201 grants. So in 201 grants, how many symbols we'll have? We have to multiply it by 1120, and 48 into 48 is the 48 into 14. We'll get number of symbols. 48 is the slot. So in the slot, how many symbols are there? 48 into 14. 14 symbols they are given, plus 5 symbols it is given in the question. So we'll have these number of symbols in the first grant, and it's similarly in the second grant 204 into 1120 plus 64 into 14 plus 11. So we'll have these number of symbols. So taking the difference, we'll get the difference of symbols, and that we need to multiply it with the time each symbol takes to transmit. So time difference will be 3590 into 8.93 microsecond, which will be 32.06 millisecond.